Part 75. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 741. Chapter 741 Shocking Change. Impossible, and blurted out, with a look of displeasure on her face. Gu-Si turned around to signal her not to say more. And lowered her head, obeyed the order, and said nothing. Isn't she dead? Gu-Si frowned. After Pei Chuying cooperated with Chen Liangdong, she was sent to Europe and kept anonymous. However, the Jidao issued a pursuit order. Pei Chuying could not escape the Jidao's pursuit and confirmed her death. After that, Gu-Si stopped paying attention to Pei Chuying's news. Pei Chuying is a very Taoist person. It is not easy to escape from the golden cicada. You save my life and I will give you a piece of news. It is fair. Chen Rishi chuckled and said, she is alive, which is not a good thing for you. Information. After the dinner, Annie accompanied Gu-Si back to the hotel. She took the first step. Before the doctors could join her, Annie said, Master, do you believe him? Please help me get Chen Rishi's information for the past 5 years. Yes. Back at the hotel, Chen Rishi's information was also put on the table. After leaving the Yakuza, he started a new business. Indeed, he chose the financial industry. After working hard for a year, there was no improvement. He acquired a pharmaceutical company and transformed into medicine. The company mainly involves the fields of pharmaceuticals, health products, and fine chemicals. It is also engaged in development and product sales in some important medical fields such as nervous system, heart disease, and cardiovascular disease. It has 2 very famous brands and cooperates with global medical institutions. This pharmaceutical company was already developing very well. During a trip, the family encountered a disaster and was almost wiped out. Only 2 daughters were left. One was an adult and the other was a minor. They were unable to maintain the company's operations. Being aggressively challenged by the director, he planned to sell his shares to the second shareholder and leave the company's core operations. Who knew that Chen Rishi would intervene and first talk about acquisitions, but then fell in love with the eldest lady, and successfully took over the pharmaceutical company. The eldest lady, the 2 were engaged. Chen Rishi also secured the directors and acquired the company in a legitimate manner. Now he has just married the eldest lady and has taken control of the pharmaceutical company. It has developed quite well. It has been prospering in the past 5 years and the medical field has been developed. More and more, Chen Rishi changed his career and made a breakthrough. Chen Rishi was very ambitious and unwilling to be subordinated. He refused to obey Lu Ziwen and joined the extreme Dao in order to bring down Pei Chuying. He knew that Pei Chuying was just a puppet and Zhang Junlin was the one in power behind the scenes. He weighed the pros and cons and knew that he could not bring down Zhang Junlin, so he left the Jida, and once cooperated with Tang Mingzhou to ruin Lu Ziwen's reputation. He worked everywhere and never thought of starting a business on his own. His routine was very simple. He joined a prosperous group, pulled down the boss, and took over himself. How can there be such a good thing? But he is indeed ambitious and capable. If he is given 50 years, he can accomplish something great, but he will have to work hard for 30 years less. Now that he has won the pharmaceutical company, it is extremely scary to think about it. Check who Chen Rishi has been in contact with and met in the past 6 months, and find information about Pei Chuying. Gu-Si ordered. The person who reported Pei Chuying's death back then also gave me a piece of information. Yes. Annie went down to do it. Gu-Si looked at the time and called Zhang Junlin and told Zhang Junlin about the situation. Zhang Junlin was shocked. Pei Chuying was really not the number 1 person in his eyes. After he died, he stopped paying attention to her. You can attend the summit with peace of mind. I will send someone to investigate and assign 2 more people to protect you. Just keep them in the dark, don't show up. I know, Zhang Junlin knew what was going on. Please pay attention to your safety. If something goes wrong, protect yourself first. Good. After the brother and sister had a brief exchange, Gu Ci continued to look at Chen Rishi's information. Annie also got the record of the shooting of Pei Chuying that year, which was Song Laniang's report. Gu Ci, are you sure it's Song Laniang? Anne said, I'm sure. In addition to the computer records, there are also records in the archives. I checked it specifically. No one can modify the information in the archives. There were 6 people witnessing the verification. It is impossible for someone to tamper with the information. Bribery 6 people at the same time. Gu Ci understood that after the problems between Song Li and Song Laniang arose, they did not investigate Song Laniang's past tasks, which was indeed a mistake. Gu Ci thought of this issue, and so did Zhang Junlin. At that time, he ordered an investigation into everything Song Laniang and Song Li had done to avoid any mistakes. And said, she became famous when she killed Song Laniang. She gained fame and fortune, so she was reused. Unexpectedly, it was a fraud. Song Li is from the financial circle and has a relationship with Pei Chuying. It is not surprising that Song Laniang would do this. You have free time to sort out the relationships here. The Pei family accumulated a lot of connections back then. Give me a detailed copy of Pei Chuying's relationships in the Jida. Good. Gu Ci sat in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, her mind drifting away. The last time she saw Pei Chuying was when she and Qin Wan assassinated her in Universal. She escaped by chance. Later, she cooperated with the national security and was sent abroad. The last time she heard from her was she was executed. Zhang Junlin was very strict and never committed any fraud. The matter just passed. None of them expected that there would be so many rebellions within the Jidao due to their opposition to Zhang Junlin and Ji Sun, and so many things would happen. There must be many things like Pei Chuying. She had almost forgotten what Pei Chuying looked like. What would she do if she were Pei Chuying? She will definitely take revenge. She is the sweet daughter of heaven, and she loves Lu Ziwen deeply. She thinks she can get everything. She regards both Lu Ziwen and Lu Ziwen as her own. But everything she valued was taken away. Gu Ci thought to herself that Pei Chuying must hate her very much. Even if he died together with her, Pei Chuying would definitely be happy. She also had an extreme temperament and was easy to go to extremes. What's more, there was a feud between her and her brother to destroy the family. Chen Rishi came to warn her that Pei Chuying was still alive, so Pei Chuying must also know that she was in Los Angeles. She is waiting for the rabbit. Can she wait for Pei Chuying? Gu Ci made a video call, and Gu Ci answered it. Gu Ci Yuzheng videoed with Gu Ci in front of his computer. Mom, after Pei Chuying was sent to a safe place, our people followed her for 3 months to ensure her safety. Safe? I didn't take care of her anymore. I made 2 passports for her back then, and I checked them both. They were never used after her death, and her own passport was never used either. She was still alive. You have to be careful that she has changed her face and has a new identity. I have not found any traces of her yet. Chen Rishi's whereabouts have been very stable in the past 3 months. They are all at home, entertainment, and the company. There is nothing out of the ordinary. If he knowing that Pei Chuying is still alive, we might as well invite him to meet and ask him if Pei Chuying has really changed his face. If not, we have no clue. I see. Gu Ci knew that Chen Rishi was a businessman, and he must have some purpose in providing her with information for no reason. After discussing with Zhang Junlin, she invited Chen Rishi to meet. Chen Rishi was not surprised at all. The next day, Gu Ci attended the summit and was busy all day. It was all about exchanges within the industry, and he benefited a lot. Gu Ci also went on stage to give a speech, introducing the history and current situation of cardiac development in China, and talking about the breakthroughs in his project. Especially the new breakthroughs in the project, won applause from the audience. Anne was afraid that someone would get around Gu Ci, so she followed her closely. Everything Gu Ci ate and drank was checked by Anne. The security work was very strict and there was no accident. After the summit, there was another dinner, and the atmosphere was much more relaxed than the summit. Gu Ci made a name for herself at the summit and struck up a conversation with many people. Many single doctors abroad wanted Gu Ci's contact information. Gu Ci directly showed her left hand and her wedding ring. The doctors all checked with the doctors at Nanjing Hospital. Gu Ci was engaged and not yet married, so the love affair was unstoppable. Gu Ci declined all the bees and butterflies. And said, "Master, you were so handsome when you were on stage. I took a photo of you. If I were a man, I would chase you too." Gu Ci chuckled and said, "You are also very beautiful. If I were a man, I would also want to chase you." And smiled honestly, smiled suddenly, and leaned forward slightly, as if she had been hit by something, like a frozen scene in a movie. For 2 seconds, and did not react. When she came to her senses, she hurriedly Gu Ci fell down, and the first shot hit Annie's back. The second shot followed. Annie rolled around on the ground holding Gu Ci and hid under the table. The sound of the silenced gun was very subtle and was muffled by the dinner music. The scene was in an uproar. The crowd hid in panic, screamed, and became a mess. The Udao people in the dark quickly appeared and went towards Gu Ci and Annie. After 2 shots, no more gunshots were heard. Gu Ci took a deep breath. One hand touched Annie's back and touched the hole, her face changed slightly. "Annie, how are you?" End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, Anne knows. Chapter 742. Chapter 742 Join forces to block. "Fortunately, I'm wearing a body armor," Annie complained. Even though she was wearing a body armor, it still hurt a lot. The bullet was very powerful. It didn't penetrate her body armor, but it gave her a certain impact. Gu Ci heard this. She put on a bulletproof vest and breathed a sigh of relief. "If you survive a catastrophe, you will have good luck in the future." Annie chuckled. She didn't usually wear body armor, but she had to wear it when on duty. She originally came to protect Gu Ci during her vacation. She thought the task was easy, so she didn't wear it at first. When she heard that Pei Chuying was still alive, she put it on decisively. Although Pei Chuying wants to kill Gu Ci, the first shot will not hit her, but she also has to take precautions. She has to block the gun for Gu Ci at the critical moment. The Udao guards have always had unwritten rules, and the target person takes priority over you's life. The secret guards also arrived, protecting Gu Ci and evacuating first. People from the security company and the police were responsible for handling the commotion at the summit. The car was parked at the door, and the guards took her back to the hotel. Before entering the room, Annie opened the room again. After searching carefully, Gu Ci told them, "Don't make this matter public. Don't tell my brother yet. We will handle it ourselves." Gu Ci also wore a bulletproof vest, and Annie forced her to put it on in the afternoon. Wearing a bulletproof vest under it in winter doesn't mean anything. Gu Ci originally thought it was unnecessary. If someone really wanted to assassinate her, the sniper's first shot would definitely hit her. It was useless to go with her head on, but when she saw Annie taking off her body armor and seeing a bullet hole on her back, she changed her mind. The quality is good. Made in China and was very humorous, and then took out the bullet. This kind of bullet is very common and can be bought on the black market. The secret guard is a black man, tall and strong, and speaks fluent Chinese. "Master, the assassination is under investigation. Chen Rishi has sent a message. Do you still want to see him?" "See you, Gu Ci didn't show the slightest panic at being assassinated. Let him come to the hotel. Yes. She and Chen Rishi had an appointment after the dinner. Chen Rishi came quickly and brought a security guard with him. However, the secret guard and Annie blocked the door. Chen Rishi entered the room without any reluctance. There is a reception room in the presidential suite. Gu Ci poured the red wine and was waiting for Chen Rishi. Xiao Ci, after escaping from death, do you believe what I say? I have always believed in you. We did not handle Pei Chuying's matter properly. How did you know that Pei Chuying was still alive? What a coincidence, she came to me and hoped to cooperate with me. Chen Rishi held the wine and shook it gently. You also know that I am more aware of current affairs. When I cooperated with Tang Mingzhou, I couldn't kill Lu Ziwen and Zhang Junlin. Your life is stable now, and your beloved wife is by your side. Why would you take risks for the sake of other people's grudges? It's not just someone else's grudge. You also hate my brother and Lu Ziwen, Gu Ci said, otherwise, you wouldn't risk everything to cooperate with Tang Mingzhou. That was just a thought that crossed my mind. Gu Ci didn't believe what he said was a single thought at all. He did everything after careful consideration. Tang Mingzhou's every move might be controlled by Chen Rishi behind the scenes. The past cannot be recalled, so we won't mention it. Gu Ci didn't go into details. What do you want to gain by taking the initiative to reveal the news about Pei Chuying? It's very simple. Chen truthfully put forward the conditions. I hope that Third Master and Zhang Junlin can give me a chance to compete fairly and allow Kang'an Pharmaceutical to enter the domestic market. This is interesting. What does the matter of pharmaceutical companies have to do with them? It seems that the two of them hid it from you. They joined forces to control the channels and rejected our license renewal many times. Chen said truthfully, although we are separated by mountains, money is omnipotent. It seems to Mr. San and Mr. Zhang you want to ban me in all walks of life, but I haven't done anything heinous, so Xiaosai, can you please say a word for me? Moi. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 743. Chapter 743 Waiting for the Rabbit. Kang'an Pharmaceutical has been expanding very rapidly in recent years. No matter how down and out Chen Rishi is, his connections are there and he has received a lot of investments. His capital expansion is going smoothly, and his territory soon covers Europe and the United States. However, he was blocked when entering China. Originally, Kang'an Pharmaceutical had a market in China, but it was not big. After Chen Ruzi took control of Kang'an, he wanted to expand in a disorderly manner, but was blocked by the Food and Drug Administration. He spent money and managed relationships, but he lost money for money. Someone originally received money to do things for him, but later found out that Zhang Junlin and Lu Ziwen were behind it, so the person returned the money to Chen Rishi. If the matter is not completed, the money will certainly not be collected. Chen Rishi also approached Chen Lianzhu. When he cooperated with Tang Mingzhou, it was Chen Lianzhu who was the go-between. Chen Lianzhu never wanted the Jida to become dominant, and he also had some affection for their side branches. Who knew that Chen Lianzhu was not involved in this matter? Later, two of Ankang's health products were listed as banned products because the ingredients did not meet domestic standards. As a result, Kang'an's sales qualifications were revoked, and Kang'an completely lost the domestic market. Nowadays, no international company wants to lose the Chinese market. This huge market of more than 1 billion people accounts for 60 to 70% of annual sales. Chen Rishi is naturally not willing to accept it. These are all matters in the medical field. When the sales of Kang'an health products were banned, Gu Ci and his classmates also discussed that the sales of those two health products were very good, and there were no big problems in the health products that were commonly consumed by middle-aged and elderly people. Was suddenly banned. Maybe something happened within the company, and it had little to do with them, so we just discussed it during dinner without understanding it in detail. I said, Chenrishi, you have entered the medical industry and it has nothing to do with the financial industry. My brother and Luzaiwan will not kill them all. Unless you are not just in the pharmaceutical business, they must ban you from selling and prohibiting you from entering the domestic market. The reason is not personal enmity. This matter is not my business. You have also found the wrong person. Whoever bans you is the one you should go to. Chen Razi turned the wedding ring on his finger and said with a smile, so, Xiaosai rejected me. When talking about cooperation, you must be sincere. I don't know why you are banned from selling. How can I help you speak up? If there is really a problem with your medicine, I will help you enter the market. Thousands of innocent people will suffer, and I will become a criminal. The ingredients of healthcare products are clear and they have been sold for many years. How come there is a problem with the ingredients? It is obviously an excuse to use the topic. I am a businessman and making money is the purpose. How can it harm people? I smiled pointedly, that's hard to explain. Some things are addictive and you can't even buy them. Chenrishi. I spread her hands and said calmly, what a coincidence. None of us knew that Pei Yuying was alive, but you knew it and revealed it to me. She came to assassinate me tonight. Everything went according to the script. Isn't it interesting? Chenrishi looked at I in silence. His impression of I was still that of 5 years ago. I was still studying and was well protected by Lu Ziwen and Zhang Junlin, like a greenhouse flower. 5 years have passed, and I has long been able to stand alone. Pei Yuying's incident did not alarm Zhang Junlin, nor Lu Ziwen. She was calm, everything was under control, and Lu Ziwen and Zhang Junlin became more and more worried. Style. Pei Yuying hates you to the core, so why should I be surprised if I assassinate you? She escaped from her shell and no one knew about it? It was easy for her to get close to me and kill me. I was on duty at the hospital. Whether she was pretending to be a patient or a family member, she had countless opportunities to get close to me. I didn't bring any guards. I have been living and dining in the company for the past few months, and I am alone. She did not come to assassinate me. It is very interesting to wait until I come to Los Angeles to do it. I said lightly, I have dealt with Pei Yuying. She is a smart person. Seeking advantages and avoiding disadvantages, do you really want to die with me? I and Pei Yuying are quite similar in some aspects. They once fell into a cycle of paranoia. Pei Yuying hated her, but if he was not sure of hitting the target, how could he take the risk? Knowing that N was protecting her and someone was guarding her in the dark, it was too difficult for her to win with one move. It seems that we can't cooperate anymore. I smiled and said nothing, and Chenrishi said gentlemanly, then I wish you all the best during your business trip. He left politely without staying any longer. I looked at his back thoughtfully. Annie asked, Master, you pretended to promise him that it's not too late to inquire about Pei Yuying's situation first. There's no need to put him there rejected. Chenrishi is not that stupid. I supported her chin and said calmly, it's just that it's not without gain. The person who assassinated me tonight may not be Pei Yuying. This is not like Pei Yuying's style. Who is that? Anne was startled and suddenly looked in the direction of Chenrishi. You mean Chenrishi faked a shot? Like Chenrishi's style, he either wants my life or forces me to make a decision. This bastard, I'm going to kill him. Annie was furious. No need, I was very calm. It is a fact that Pei Yuying is alive. He has provided a piece of true information. There is no need to get entangled with him. Our target is Pei Yuying, not him. What to do next? The police can't find any information at all. It's very simple, just wait and wait. Goosey Eye blew on the hot milk tea and took a sip. Whether it's him or Pei Chuiying, they will come to the door again, we just have to wait. Anne envied her calmness. Okay, I will definitely do a good job of guarding you. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, Anne knows. Chapter 744. Chapter 744 The Kind Third Master. There was an incident at the dinner, and the doctors were all in shock. The police did not have any results from the investigation, and they did not know the characterization. The scene was chaotic, and no one thought that they came to assassinate Goosey Eye. The doctors were at a loss as they did not expect to attend the summit and were worried about their lives. The dean summoned the doctors, including Goosey Eye, to discuss the final itinerary. Several doctors were very frightened and wanted to return home immediately. They did not want to take risks. More than half of them were the doctor thought it was an accident and it was a rare opportunity to communicate. He did not want any changes to the upcoming itinerary. Dr. Gu, what do you think? A male doctor turned pale. We should go home early, this ghost place is too dangerous. Goosey Eye could understand their fear. The most dangerous thing they encountered in the hospital was medical trouble. At most, it would be tampering with family members, and surgery was rare. I think, it's a false alarm. It's nothing important. It depends on the organizer. I mean, if the summit continues, I hope to continue to participate in in-depth exchanges and cooperation. If they feel there is danger, they will inform us. The male doctor was a little disappointed when he saw that he could not convince her. Everyone was emotionally unstable. Goosey Eye suggested to rest first and wait for the notice. The director also asked everyone to disperse and wait for the notice tomorrow. Goosey Eye received a video from Lu Ziwen when she returned to the room. Lu Ziwen's face was extremely ugly. Ziyu said, Pei Chuiying is still alive. Did he assassinate you tonight? There is such a thing, it may not be Pei Chuiying. I'll fly over to find you. Don't leave the hotel until I arrive. Lu Ziwen arranged the matter after receiving the news. He bought a plane ticket and flew to Los Angeles. I can handle it. You don't need to fly over. Security has been tightened here. Goosey Eye chuckled and said, you trust me. I believe you, but I'm not at ease. Lu Ziwen frowned and looked at Goosey Eye with a heavy gaze. Why did you tell Ziyu but not me? Goosey Eye. Lu Ziwen's tone was unkind, and Goosey Eye did not hide it. This is an internal matter within the Jidao. My brother received the news early in the morning and told Ziyu. I originally wanted to handle it myself. Xiao Ci, I know you can stand alone, which is also the best thing to do, but you are my wife, and I will worry about you. Bullets don't have eyes. No matter how determined you are, accidents will happen. I can't afford any accidents. Lu Ziwen frowned. If I were assassinated in Europe and I didn't tell you, would you feel comfortable? I was wrong. It won't happen next time. I have been busy dealing with it after the accident and I haven't had time to tell you yet. Goosey Eye defended softly, I was really wrong. Third brother, don't be angry. I'll settle the score with you when I land. Goosey Eye. Anne was holding back her laughter. Goosey Eye was obviously telling lies. She never thought of telling Lu Ziwen. Anne glanced at the time and said, Master, take a nap and have lunch. Maybe the third master will be here soon. Goosey Eye must not be able to sleep. Are there any agents who are good at tracking around? Let him follow Chenrishi. The master has already sent someone to follow him. Annie said, Chenrishi will follow him as soon as he leaves. He usually lives in New York, not Los Angeles. In winter, he will live in Los Angeles, which is relatively warm. He has a villa on the mountain by the sea. Our man at most, he can follow him to the foot of the mountain, but it is difficult to follow him to the mountain, where he will be easily discovered. His wife and aunt were both on vacation here recently. Gu Si slept peacefully without any distractions. After breakfast, the organizer also had news. The summit was not affected and continued to be held. Although the dean did not force it, he hinted that all doctors should participate. If being frightened by a shooting would affect the image of their medical team, Gu Si also felt that it made sense, so she was very active. I communicated with the doctors in the group. Fortunately, everyone was present except for one doctor who was really scared. Anne reminded her, the third master said you should not go out until he lands. It's fine. The dean brought a group of people to the summit. Everyone was somewhat affected. The atmosphere at the venue was particularly solemn. Chen Rishi was also present. He has developed special medicines in the fields of neuromedicine and heart. This time he is introducing his special medicines. From research and development, trials to clinical data, everyone has a report in their hands. Gu Si was very surprised and quickly flipped through the information. Chen Rishi's special medicine is still in the clinical stage. If it is really effective, it will be a great benefit for heart patients. Great news. I'm really willing to spend money. No wonder he wants to take the lead in organizing this summit. If all major hospitals cooperate with him, it will be a hugely profitable business. Kang'an medicine has been blocked in China. So many authoritative cardiologists are here. If they are moved, let's take the lead in putting pressure on them. Chen Rishi may not be unable to succeed. As long as a drug enters the market, the follow-up will be much simpler. Gu Si looked around and saw the excited eyes of the dean and other doctors. The summit instantly became lively. Gu Si walked aside and did not participate in the discussion. Looking at this information, there was no problem. The effect of drugs will not be seen until clinical trials. The data can be disguised. New vaccines will not be launched on the market. It will take several years of clinical practice, let alone a new drug. Although Gu Si is excited, she has always stood by Lu Ziwen and Zhang Junlin and will not make decisions that go against them. Chen Rishi was surrounded by a group of doctors and asked about the special medicine. He asked the doctors from the research and development team to answer. He walked straight towards Gu Si and said, Xiao Si, why didn't you discuss it with everyone? Do you have 1 year of clinical data for this drug? Gu Si clicked on the information. I don't believe it. If you don't believe it, there is no need to discuss it. Xiao Si, I once had a crush on you, and you saved my life. No matter what grudges I have with Lu Ziwen, I have always been sincere to you and will not harm you. Otherwise, I will not tell you the news about Pei Chuying. If your dream is to team up with Tang Mingzhou to kidnap me and make me almost die in the dungeon, that's really pitiful. Thank you for your affection and not continuing to have a crush on me. Chen Rishi. Annie saw his expression and suppressed a laugh. She was professional and couldn't laugh out loud no matter how funny he was. Believe me, I really just want to be a pure businessman. Really? A cold voice came from behind him. Gu Si turned her head and saw Lu Ziwen. She ran over in surprise. Lu Ziwen came in stride and stretched out his hand naturally. Gu Si held his hand and was very surprised. How did you come? Lu Ziwen brought 2 guards, both of whom were familiar to Gu Si. He squeezed Gu Si's palm with soft eyes, but when he looked at Chen Rishi, his expression changed. Chen Rishi, why did I block Kang'an? You know medicine better than I do, so don't bring trouble to yourself. Third Master, you are so hostile to me, do you have to kill me to death? I didn't kill you, it's just my kindness. Don't be a monster, Lu Ziwen said indifferently. If you weren't so ambitious and danced in front of Xiaosai, I would have almost forgotten you. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 745. Chapter 745 Unsolved Mysteries. Chen Rishi's face instantly became extremely ugly. Lu Ziwen could get what he had worked so hard to get. The person he wanted to get was devoted to Lu Ziwen. The career he wanted to develop, Lu Ziwen could make all his efforts go away with just one sentence. Destroyed once, Lu Ziwen simply said that he had forgotten about you. Chen Rishi had not been humiliated like this for many years, and his hatred for Lu Ziwen reached its peak in an instant. A chill ran down Gu Si's spine, but Lu Ziwen ignored Chen Rishi and asked gently, "Will this summit continue?" "Let's go." Gu Si spoke to the dean and left with Lu Ziwen. Annie still followed her dutifully, thinking to herself, the third master and the master of the house really joined forces, they are a perfect couple. Why does the master hate the third master? How handsome. She wanted to sign an autograph, but she had a professional ethics and couldn't do personal things during work, not to mention that she was against her husband. The master hated him. In fact, many people in Gdao are racing fans. Racing fans all over the world love Lu Ziwen. There are really no dark spots in his career. He is diligent and hard-working. He looks like a peacock, but there is no gossip. He has been in love with his childhood sweetheart Gu Si for many years and has never changed his mind. On the court, he is high-spirited and respects his opponents. Whether they are career fans or beauty fans, they all like him like this. Most of his negative fans are rival fans. "Are you hungry? Let's go eat. We've been eating in the hotel for the past few days, and I'm tired of it." Lu Ziwen's bad mood disappeared when he saw Gu Si. As long as she was under his eyes, nothing mattered. "What do you want to eat?" "I want to eat steak Wellington." "Okay, I just want to eat it too." The two of them went to the restaurant and asked for a private room. Lu Ziwen was a global superstar, and his face would cause a sensation wherever he appeared. Annie and Lu Ziwen's guards were guarding the door. This was a balcony box with a very wide view, and there were also plants planted on the balcony. There were flowers and the atmosphere was very good. Gu Si told the story of her encounter with Chen Rishi in detail. "I've also checked it out. Pei Chuying may still be alive. Song Lanying made a lie back then. We didn't go into details. It doesn't matter, a grasshopper after autumn won't be able to jump around for long." Lu Ziwen didn't take Pei Chuying seriously. "You don't have to worry about her affairs, leave it to me." Gu Si looked at her with a half-smile. "Third brother, you and she are childhood sweethearts, and she is very affectionate. Haven't you ever felt any sympathy?" Lu Ziwen raised his eyebrows, remembering the crazy Gu Si. She was once jealous that he spent all his energy on Pei Chuying and wanted to kill Pei Chuying. His desire for exclusivity left a deep impression on him to this day. After Gu Si recovered from his illness, this desire for exclusivity no longer existed. Without showing it, he missed it a little bit. "I really want to have some compassion. If she dies, you have to dig up her body and whip her body." "I abide by the law, don't set me up," Gu Si said with a chuckle. There were only a few people that Lu Ziwen really cared about, and Pei Chuying really couldn't be ranked among them. Actually, I think Pei Chuying's path has been narrowed. He chose the wrong crush. Object. How to say? She and her brother can be considered childhood sweethearts if she likes him, has conquered him since childhood, and is devoted to him. Do you think she has a chance? Then let's watch the show. Watch Ji-sun and her fight for favor. The corpse will probably be cold. Gu Si laughed. In fact, she knew in her heart that Zhang Junlin didn't like Pei Chuying. He didn't like Gu Zhiwen, so he definitely didn't like Pei Chuying, so he wasn't from the same place. But why he likes Ji-sun is also an unsolved mystery. "Do you have any news about Pei Chuying?" "No," Lu Ziwen said jokingly, "you took me out to dinner to show your affection, wasn't it just for her to see? If she can't help it, she will come to you." Gu Si, whose inner thoughts were revealed. Moi. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 746. Chapter 746 Romantic Date. After Gu Si and Lu Ziwen had a romantic lunch, they went to Universal Studios together. Since they were showing off their affection, they naturally wanted to show their affection to the end. Because Lu Ziwen was so well known, he put on a hat, scarf, and mask, covering his head to his feet, but he is tall, has long legs, and has a strong body, which makes him stand out among the crowd. Gu Si's face is very famous in China. After going abroad, she is not a star after all, so not many people know her. Gu Si and Lu Ziwen are still at the entrance of Universal Studios. Annie was asked to take a tourist photo of them. During the photo, Lu Ziwen would take off his mask and reveal his true face. Universal Studios in Los Angeles is very large and has a lot of tourists. Gu Si and Lu Ziwen bought priority tickets, but they actually had to queue up. Some popular projects had quite long queues, so they would not choose projects with too long queues. Except for taking Gu Si to an amusement park, they had never dated in an amusement park. Gu Si said, "It's a pity to say that. If we didn't have conflicts when we were young, and we didn't dislike each other when we were studying, we would have been. We often go to amusement parks for dates. Then don't set me up, we don't hate each other, it's you who hates me unilaterally. I don't hate you either." Oh. Lu Ziwen smiled ambiguously, "Can you tell me?" Gu Si felt a little depressed. "Actually, I have always liked you when I was a child. Except for Grandma, you were the best to me, but that time I went to play with you, you lost your temper for no reason, and you deliberately got close to Gu Chawiun. Gu Chawiun again, I like you. They say at home that you are childhood sweethearts, we are in love, and you will get engaged when you grow up. I feel very angry when I hear it, and I hate you. Ever since I was a child, Gu Chawiun will definitely take away what I like, and neither will you. Exception, I can't get it, so I can only hate you at that time, and, when Gu Chawiun and I have conflicts, you always speak for her and reprimand me, so naturally I misunderstand that you like her. That's really an unjust death." Lu Ziwen and Gu Si rarely mention the past, and Gu Si had a knot in his mind. "I mistakenly thought that I had a dual personality, and I was so scared. How could I dare to get too close to you? I have been with you since I was a child." Because of his dual personality, he doesn't have any friends, and he is afraid that his secret will be known. You have never suffered a loss when you had a conflict with Gu Chawiun. If I say a word for you, you will get an extra beating when you go home. Why bother? Let me tell you something for Gu Chawiun. Once she is proud and has a sense of superiority, she will not care about you. Children have this kind of temperament and are easy to control. Humph, Gu Si still felt regretful. That's fine. After all, you are someone else's child. No matter how much I want to protect you, I can't protect you. If we have a good relationship and Gu Chawiun is jealous, your life at home will be even more difficult, Cinderella. I am not Cinderella. Okay, you are Snow White, the most beautiful Snow White in the world. I don't want to be Snow White either. Then be my princess." Lu Ziwen smiled and put his arm around her waist, taking her into the magical world of Harry Potter. It was a 3D magical journey, very similar to Disney's Crossing the Horizon, except that the picture here was they are all based on elements from Harry Potter. It feels like they have entered the magical world and watched a wonderful battle. The senses are particularly stimulating. Gu Si liked this experience very much. Lu Ziwen also came to play for the first time. He chose the items that he and Gu Si liked more. After coming out of the magic world, he went to the Revenge of the Mummy 3D roller coaster. For Lu Ziwen, many thrilling events are boring. After all, he is playing the most exciting racing event in the world, but with Goosey Eye by his side, the experience is different. And is responsible for taking photos of them, various snapshots and short videos, and guards is responsible for safety. The two had a great time and even video chatted with Goosey. Goosey's eyes were red with jealousy. He had no hope of going abroad to play in his life. Goosey Eye couldn't laugh or cry. After hanging up the video, Goosey Eye said, "Ziu is now he's much more mature, he's a big kid. How old he is, he has already reached adulthood. That doesn't count, he is not yet 14 years old." Lu Ziwen smiled and said nothing. Goosey Eye said with some regret, "It's a pity that you haven't seen him when he was 2 or 3 years old. He was so cute." Lu Ziwen thought to himself that he had seen a very cute little carrot head who could comfort himself when he fell. Since Goosey Eye and Lu Ziwen rarely had this kind of dating experience, they forgot that they were here to show off their affection. They simply went out to play until the evening and played many projects. Goosey Eye posted on moments and specially mentioned his colleagues. They all blocked them and posted her and Lu Ziwen's jagaga. Goosey's circle of friends was mediocre. She used to often post Goosey. After Goosey grew up to be a young boy, he rarely posted it. In the past 2 years, it has been half a year. There is not even a circle of friends. It is a rare show of affection. Friends are very supportive, and everyone can chat in the circle of friends. For Goosey Eye, this is a romantic and wonderful day. After several months of busy work, this was her happiest day. Goosey Eye said, "When we have free time in the future, we will take you to play. We can just play, whatever we do, it will be too much fun." "How can you say that about your son?" Goosey Eye couldn't laugh or cry. It was getting late and the two of them had no plans to eat in the park. After leaving the park, Lu Ziwen said, "There is an exhibition game tonight. Do you want to go see it?" "Go," Goosey Eye thought of this year's opening match. "You missed the opening match." "It doesn't matter, our team should perform well," Lu Ziwen said. "Our team has 2 young drivers who have no hope of winning the championship. They still lack a little experience. They can finish in the top 10. Personal honors are not easy to win. The points should still be stable. Dynasty Racing Team has been in the top 3 in points in the past few years. Although it fell out of first place, it still maintains second place. In third place, it is a truly wealthy team. In addition, it has money and good signings. The overall points of the team are fine." Although Lu Ziwen has retired, he still loves this sport and has been willing to spend a lot of money on racing investments in recent years. The exhibition race was at the beach, and the riders were all amateurs, but it was no less exciting than the regular race. When Lu Ziwen and Goosey Eye arrived at the scene, it was in full swing. The beauties were wearing cool clothes and dancing enthusiastically, cheering for the riders. The beauties of the cheerleading team, all of them are young and beautiful. There are so many beauties. Goosey Eye likes to see beauties, especially those from the West who are more than 1.7 meters tall, with and thin waists. She admires them all. Lu Ziwen lowered his head and smiled, "You can also dance with them." "I can't," Goosey Eye subconsciously shook her head. The live music was loud, the racing hadn't started yet, and the atmosphere of the cheerleading team was fiery. Goosey Eye had been dull since she was a child. Zhou Jinjin should like this kind of occasion. If Zhou Jinjin and Qinwan come, they will definitely join them like crazy. "You can do it." Lu Ziwen pushed Goosey Eye into the group of beauties and gave her a cheering gesture. Before Goosey Eye could react, he was pulled by a blonde beauty to dance together and handed her a flower ball. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 747. Chapter 747 Black Market Racing. The atmosphere was very contagious. In this atmosphere, which was even more exciting than disco dancing. Gu Ci was quickly inspired to dance and cheer with the beauties. Amidst the roar of the racing cars, her emotions reached their peak. This kind of the spontaneous cheering team did not have a fixed dance step. They were not uniform, but they were all enthusiastic. Gu Ci's dress was particularly conspicuous among the group of girls. She took off her coat and threw it to Lu Ziwen, as if attending a carnival party. Lu Ziwen held her coat in one hand and took a video of Gu Ci with the other hand, and sent it to Gu Ziu. Gu Ziu said, you. He has never seen such a happy mother, he is jealous. Sure enough, the mother who is with her father is a girl. After Gu Ci took off her coat, she was wearing a short, close-fitting knitted sweater, which exposed her small waist due to dancing. Her tight jeans outlined her perfectly proportioned figure, which was not inferior among a group of slender Western women. Lu Ziwen, Gu Ci shouted her name. Anyway, only a few people abroad understood her words, Lu Ziwen. Lu Ziwen smiled gently and waved at her, which was particularly seductive. Gu Ci looked at the noise and lights behind him and couldn't help but think that even if they missed each other due to misunderstanding when they were young and were delayed for many years, she would always be Lu Ziwen's heartbeat, she would always surrender to his eyes, and she would always chase him. Figure. He will always be her Prince Charming. She remembered Lu Ziwen who caught her when she jumped from a tall building, and also recalled Lu Ziwen under the ginkgo tree on the university street of a university. Gu Ci's beauty attracted the covetousness of a group of men, who approached her with a smile. Everyone wanted her contact information, and someone even handed him a hotel key card. Lu Ziwen narrowed his eyes. Gu Ci rejected the invitations of several men, unable to resist their enthusiasm. She happily threw herself into his arms, while the men returned in vain. Xiao Ci is so charming. He caught Gu Ci, took off his mask, and kissed her cheek. Gu Ci was covered in sweat from dancing, and her eyes were hot, as if they were still in love. Take off your mask, that's the real heartthrob. Lu Ziwen didn't want to cause any sensation by watching an exhibition match, so he still put on a mask after kissing Gu Ci. This is a rare indulgence for Gu Ci, and there is a feeling that he still has more to say. The competition will start soon, and the cheerleaders will be even more enthusiastic. With the sound of gunshots, more than a dozen sports cars roar out, competing for the track. The visual effects are full. Lu Ziwen leads Gu Ci went to a high place to watch the display. For a competition of this scale, there was also a complete live broadcast. Among them, a sports car was rear-ended and was knocked off the track and rolled several times. Oh my God, is this outrageous? Gu Ci was stunned. Lu Ziwen said, do you really think this is an exhibition race? Many people are gambling in the periphery. Car betting is common, and they are all funded by investors, so the methods are very dirty. It is normal for a team to work together, stop cars, and crash. Drivers people often buy and lose by themselves, so it's very exciting visually. What if someone is killed? Gu Ci saw that after the car was hit, the camera did not broadcast it, and she did not know if the driver was okay. Life and death are determined by fate, Lu Ziwen said with a chuckle. Wealth is in the sky. In this kind of competition, the boss has bought huge insurance for the drivers. If something happens, it will benefit the family, so these drivers are all desperados, otherwise how can I say that the wild game is better than the main game? Soon, 3 cars were chasing each other in the camera. The yellow sports car was in front, followed by the black and red sports cars chasing each other. After overtaking in the curve, they were responsible for intercepting and deliberately rear-ended the car. The yellow sports car narrowly avoided the rear-end collision. Gu Ci originally thought he was going to avoid them. After all, life was the most important thing. Who knew that he suddenly accelerated and overtook them in the lane? While overtaking, he suddenly hit the right, knocking over the red car on the right at high speed. The sports car rolled over and was smashed to pieces. Wow! Cool! Alice, Alice, Alice! The whole venue was boiling with waves of voices. The hot crowd overturned the cold winter and ignited the entire racing venue. Stimulated by the sea of voices, the whole venue was shouting the driver's name. This is a female driver. It's terrible, Goosey's joy just now has disappeared. Such a competition is indeed exciting, but as a doctor, she only feels creepy. After all, she treats diseases and saves people. This is normal. If it feels uncomfortable, then we will go back. It's not that Goosey is uncomfortable, she's not that holy. This kind of competition looks similar to black market racing, but it's not put on the table in a grand manner. It also has many years of history. It doesn't matter whether she is comfortable as a spectator or not. No matter what, it doesn't change anything. Goosey knows that Luziwen likes to watch. He is a racing king himself and likes to watch such exciting competitions. I wonder if that yellow sports car can win the championship. Good skills, Luziwen commented, seeing that Goosey didn't mean to force herself at all, and continued, her skills are no worse than those of the drivers in the race. Her physical fitness and stability are very strong, but she is too ruthless. As long as someone tries to catch up with another car or wants to overtake her, she will directly knock her over, and the angle is very tricky, which makes a skilled person bold. She is currently ranked first. Alice, Alice. Everyone in the audience was shouting her name, but she was not far ahead. The black sports car was chasing after her, and several sports cars were catching up behind her. The racing track was a two-lane road, so the race was even more exciting. If you want to surpass her, you must seize the opportunity, or compete with her and bump her away directly. But bumping into others is also risky. After all, everyone is just for money and they still cherish their lives. They will not take the initiative to bump into her like her. People chasing each other and overtaking each other like this is thrilling. A blue modified sports car was directly hit and was drifting in circles. He was able to stabilize the car and quickly return to the track after drifting, and soon reached the cliff section. Goosey was terrified. If something happened here, she would definitely lose her life. She mentioned it in one breath. Alice's stamina was very strong. People behind her tried to overtake them, but they never had a chance, so they were safe on the cliff section. It was getting closer and closer to the finish line. It was only 10 kilometers away. The chase became even more exaggerated. Everyone behind me crashed into a ball. Everyone was running for the championship. During the sprint stage, they were running like crazy. The blue sports car that had just drifted, he overtook other cars along the curve, passed 4 cars, and caught up behind Alice in an instant. Neil, Neil. Everyone in the field shouted the name of this male driver. The two of them were leading the race, chasing each other. Neil wanted to overtake Alice, but never had a chance. Goosey even sweated for them. If there was a collision, on the road, given the speed of the two of them, something would happen together. Luziwen also watched intently. In the last 2 kilometers of the sprint, the two of them drove side by side, both speeding up. No collision was allowed at this speed, otherwise both of them would be dead. Something was about to happen, and Bai took advantage of the car behind her, and the two of them accelerated like crazy. But just as they were about to reach the finish line, with only 100 meters left, Alice's car suddenly shifted to the right at a small angle, scraping Neil's body. With such a small scratch, Neil overturned the car at a speed of nearly 350 kilometers per hour. The car rolled over to the guardrail of the auditorium and got stuck in front of the finish line. The yellow sports car crossed the finish line in a sprint. The whole place was screaming, howling, and calling Alice's name. No one cared about Neil, who overturned, and no one even looked at his injuries. Alice won the championship, and the following cars also arrived at the finish line one after another. They were a full minute late. 1 minute on the racing track meant they were absolutely behind. Flowers and applause all went to Alice. This atmosphere was familiar to both Lu Ziwen and Gu Ci. Every time Lu Ziwen won the championship, there was such a celebration scene. He was not unfamiliar with it at all. Gu Ci was a little uncomfortable. In the race, although Lu Ziwen and other racers would make fouls, they would not rush to kill people. They would also collide with each other, but they had the best protection. There have been very few car accidents over the years, but such a black car is too cruel. With the state of the overturned car, she guessed that Neil was in danger. Even if he was alive, he would probably have many fractures all over his body. It was so cruel. The main game takes the aesthetics of violence to the extreme. This is the ultimate extreme of criminal aesthetics. Lu Ziwen put his arm around her waist, and Gu Ci raised her head and chuckled. Amidst the noisy cheers, her smile was as bright as a flower. I prefer to watch you race cars. I know. Alice got out of the car, took off her helmet, and her dazzling blonde hair flowed down. She was slim, tall, and had an angelic face. No one expected that a beauty with such an angelic face could be so ruthless when racing. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 748. Chapter 748, Take the time to get married. Do you often watch this kind of racing? Gu Ci asked with a smile. Not often, Lu Ziwen said with a chuckle. As a professional racing driver, I definitely don't like to watch this kind of racing that doesn't respect human life. I occasionally take a look at it, you know, it is a kind of sensory stimulation. Another reason is that major teams like to look for talents in the black market. There are some children who are very talented in racing at an early age and can develop well after systematic training. There are some black markets that specialize in training children to race. Is it okay to be a minor? It's not a big deal to change your age by 1 or 2 years. It's quite exciting and dangerous. Female drivers are rare, Lu Ziwen said with a chuckle, pulling her away. There was another race ahead. Lu Ziwen knew that Gu Ci was feeling unwell, so he took her to leave early. When we got to the car, Lu Ziwen said, "Annie, give me a copy of all the videos you took today, and I'll have someone edit them and send them to your personal account." So exaggerated. Isn't it a show of affection? Annie chuckled and said, "Third Master, I recorded all the sweet moments." Well done, I've got a salary here these days. Hey, thank you, Mr. Third. Annie is a standard worker, so she is naturally happy to get some salary. Gu Ci was worried about one thing, will Pei Chuiying see it? Didn't you see the video as soon as it was posted? Lu Ziwen's personal account rarely posts status anymore. In the past few years, it has only forwarded news about the Dynasty racing team. Suddenly he posted a video of him and Gu Ci. It was quite surprising. Fans quickly commented on it. Although Lu Ziwen has not raced for 5 years, he is not an expired racing driver. Drivers in competitive sports always attract much attention, let alone such a global traffic superstar. Lu Ziwen's personal account has a terrifying number of fans. A group of people at home and abroad are paying attention to it, and the two of them have never eaten. After lunch, we went to Universal Studios and the racing track. A full 40-minute video was cut into the video. Holding hands, hugging, Gu Ci dancing, etc. were all cut into the video. Many fans knew that he was watching the racing, and the local fans wanted to go for a chance encounter. A global superstar like Lu Ziwen has not had any gossip news for so many years. He is the only one with Gu Ci. It is very rare. He is almost called a wife and a treasure boy. It is so rare for the two of them to be in the same frame. Everyone can't do it even if they want to. This daily video is very popular. Is it really just to stimulate paying? Gu Ci raised an eyebrow and asked with a smile. That's not it, Lu Ziwen hugged her, I just want to show off. Gu Ci couldn't help laughing, and the two kissed naturally. Fans have long accepted Lu Ziwen's girlfriend and marriage. Moreover, Gu Ci is excellent and a good match, and no one in the fan base has said anything unpleasant. Someone asked them if they were on their honeymoon. Lu Ziwen, the wedding will be held in a few months. The wedding, which he personally promised and recognized, caused another commotion, and one of the comments was very irritating. Since you have been in a relationship for so many years and you haven't gotten married, is it because the property has not been divided? Lu Ziwen, all my property belongs to her, and I will have to rely on her to support me from now on. Gu Ci has been too busy without getting married for so many years. She has to save lives and heal the wounded, and now she finally took the time to give me a title. Fans. When Gu Ci saw what he said in reply to his fans, she couldn't help but laugh at him. Why do you care about them? I can't stand it when they slander you. Lu Ziwen smiled and replied a few more times. He was a maniac about doting on his wife, and he couldn't bear it even if his fans slandered Gu Ci. Shall I get married? Since we're all in California, why not go to the casino to get a marriage certificate? Mwah. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 749. Chapter 749. He is interested in the driver. Gu Ci's exchange meeting was still a few days away, and she absolutely couldn't take time to get married with him. She could only wait until the exchange meeting was over before making arrangements. She didn't have to go back to China with her colleagues, and she also planned to spend some time with Lu Ziwen in California. I don't mind Chen Rishi and Pei at all. Lu Ziwen also posted a video of him and Gu Ci on foreign social media. Many fans left enthusiastic messages hoping to meet by chance. Photos of Gu Ci attending the Heart Medicine Summit were also revealed. Gu Ci was dressed very autumn and winter, with a monochrome coat. With long wavy hair and a bookish beauty, she is unique among a group of authoritative doctors. She has long been a quasi-sister-in-law in the racing circle. Lu Ziwen's girlfriend fans have nothing to say against Gu Ci. When the photos leaked out, it was only for the sake of licking the screen. Chen Rishi watched the video with heavy eyes. Gu Ci was dancing in front of the racing car, happily and enthusiastically. He raised the corners of his lips. Lu Ziwen would actually take Gu Ci to watch a racing competition. Would Gu Ci like such a violent and cruel competition? The phone rang. When he looked at the caller ID, he frowned slightly and answered the phone. I told you, don't call me if you have nothing to do. The other party didn't know what he said, so Chen Rishi paused for a moment and said, okay, I get it. After Chen Rishi hung up the phone, he picked up his coat and went out. After Lu Ziwen sent Gu Ci to the summit, he drove to the Black Market Racing Club alone. He made an appointment with his boss Pete. Pete and Lu Ziwen had known each other for a long time. They were also former racing drivers. They were more than 10 years older than Lu Ziwen and had also been racing. When Lu Ziwen emerged as the all-powerful player on the field, Pete had gradually declined. It was difficult for his physical fitness and technology to keep up with the ever-changing racing scene. He retired early. The two of them only really played against each other once. Pete would often come to watch the games, and Dynasty Racing also maintains a good relationship. Pete saw from social media that Lu Ziwen came to watch the game. He was very surprised. Lu Ziwen rarely watches wild games, especially wild games with extremely high risks. He rarely watches them. Third Master, you should tell me earlier when you come to watch the game. I will arrange a stand with the best view for you. Pete warmly entertained Lu Ziwen, but he did not dare to pretend to be his senior in front of Lu Ziwen, although he was really Lu Ziwen's senior. Lu Ziwen chuckled and said, I came to the summit with my girlfriend, and I came to watch the game on a whim. It was a bit abrupt, so I don't want to disturb you. I came to you today to ask you something. Okay, I'll tell you everything I know. No matter what happened, the two had a weak friendship. They had never contacted for many years. They couldn't even nod with their nods. Pete naturally knew that Lu Ziwen came to him. The Dynasty Racing team wants to set up a team in the Americas and recruit drivers. As you know, our team's focus is on Asian seeds. We need to build a team temporarily, which is quite stressful. I don't want to find a team of drivers trained from scratch. You have to be flexible and talented. I watched your race yesterday and there are a few riders that I am very interested in. I wonder if I am interested in cooperating. Pete was surprised. Dynasty wants to build a fleet here. Yes, Lu Ziwen drank tea. Last night's racers were underage, and they all had good talents. It can be seen that they have not been trained systematically. If they join the team and have special team training, they will be able to perform better. Director, they have a better future than driving on the black market. Pete knows that Lu Ziwen is telling the truth. Speaking of the training at Dynasty, it is actually quite scary. Racing is a game for the rich. In order for their children to be able to race, young parents will give coaches money to join the team, so there are many second-rate people. The team will send good seeds to the Dynasty team. After joining the Dynasty team, the commercial value will be improved to a higher level. The initial investment will get huge returns in the later period. Shooting an advertisement is a huge expense. Pete's friends' children also sent their children to the Dynasty team through connections. The head coach felt that the children had good talents, but lacked physical fitness. If they wanted to take a professional route, they must be self-disciplined and exercised, and eat strictly according to the team's recipes. The whole family agreed. It was fine, but the next day, the children ate 5 pancakes for breakfast, and the head coach kicked them out of the team in anger. No matter how much he begged for mercy, it didn't work. Athletes should not eat too much carbohydrates, which contain a lot of protein. During the period of physical training, Lu Ziwen only ate boiled vegetables and boiled chicken breasts, and then filled them with protein powder. He would not touch carbonated drinks or alcohol. You won't touch even sweet water. Only with terrible self-discipline can you develop a body that can resist. He came to the black market to select team members, and Pete was surprised. These kids raised in the slums race cars for money and then spend their time and money, which do not meet his strict selection criteria. Which riders do you like? Can I see the driver information from last night's race? No problem. Pete was also very cheerful and gave him the information. There were a total of 16 racing drivers last night. When Lu Ziwen was flipping through the information, Pete explained, only 4 people are racing drivers signed by our club, and the others are temporary signings, only signed once. This is the first time I have met many racing drivers. There is gambling in our competition, and there are also people who are bankers, so racing depends on strength. There was an accident last night. 1 died and 2 were injured. 1 person is still in the intensive care unit, and most of them are also hanging. I told the drivers before the race started that it doesn't matter whether they finish first or not, just do your best and protect yourself. They have a basic salary, and there are rewards for their rankings, and they have a guarantee of 200,000 for every race. Racing, I don't know. Lu Ziwen chuckled, his eyes fixed on the first place Alice. Female racing drivers are relatively rare, she is only 18 years old. Yes, Pete hesitated. Lu Ziwen asked, is there any problem? The information says she is 18 years old, but to me, she doesn't look like 18, or she looks older. Pete said, she has competed with me 3 times, twice in first place and once in second place. Her results are very good. She is aloof, relatively stable, and her origin is unknown. Are you interested in her? Dynasty has never signed a female driver. If it signed one, it would definitely be breaking news. When did she start competing at your place? Half a year ago. Pete was in disbelief. Are you really interested in her? Not really. Lu Ziwen lowered his head and flipped through the information. Just ask. The youngest driver is only 16 years old. One part of the information is false and the other part is real. Because Lu Ziwen wanted to select people, Pete gave him the real information. Lu Ziwen really took a fancy to the 2 racers, whose rankings were not that high. In the middle section, he also saw their problems. The chaotic race situation affected their mentality in the middle, and collapsed in the second half. His skills were very strong. The corners are also very clean and neat. He is still young and has time to develop. Pete said, Alice's racing style is quite similar to Sainyi's. Lu Ziwen raised the corners of his lips. You know where she is, ask her to come and meet her. End of this chapter. Shocking. She came back with a smaller version of the boss. Author, and knows. Chapter 750. Chapter 750. Picking up my wife from get off work. Pete went to make a call. The driver was racing here and the money had not yet been settled, so he could be contacted. Pete said, she will be here in half an hour. Okay. Lu Ziwen clicked on the profile pictures of the 2 drivers on the profile. I want these 2, and you give me a price. One of them is a driver signed by our club, and the other is not. I can only give you the price for one person, and you have to negotiate for the other person yourself. Pete is also relatively honest, and he doesn't care about people like Lu Ziwen who are at the top of the industry. He said that lying is the most unnecessary thing. Although Pete is a senior, he also has a kind of admiration for Lu Ziwen. Everyone admires strength, no one is exception. Okay, I will send someone to follow up. I signed this kid for 5 years at the time, and it's just been 1 year, the training fee, the 5-year labor contract. Pete quoted a buyout price, $5 million. Okay, the price is similar to what Lu Ziwen expected, $5 million for a driver with potential. It depends on the performance of this kid in the future. He is 16 years old, has skilled skills, and is almost 1.8 meters tall. Looks pretty good, and should have good commercial value. If trained well, it will be easy to earn back the money. After Lu Ziwen and Pete negotiated, they signed a contract, and all the information of the other driver was given to Lu Ziwen and asked him to send it later. When it comes to people talking, Lu Ziwen has a very vicious eye. The 2 people have completely different styles and can work well together. Although Pete was a little pity, he didn't think anything of it. There were too many children who were willing to play black games, talented and potential children, and he didn't want to bury them. Lu Ziwen can take them, which is a good opportunity for them to change their fate. The situation is sometimes very mysterious. You may not know that a car king will be born in the next 5 years. Alice came soon. She was blonde, tall, and dressed in a punk style. She had 3 pierced ears, all wearing earrings, her hair was braided, and she wore boots. When she saw Lu Ziwen, she looked cool, but her eyes were a little unexpected. She was a cool girl from beginning to end. Pete said, "Third master, this is Alice." "Pete, the money has been settled. Let me know next time there is a race." She didn't seem to care why Lu Ziwen was here. Lu Ziwen looked at her calmly and remained silent. "The money must be settled clearly for you." Pete turned around and wrote her a check. Alice accepted the check with satisfaction. "Alice, the third master is looking for a racing driver for the team. I recommended you. You are young and skilled. Stable, very suitable for becoming a professional racing driver. If you are interested, you can talk to Mr. San. No need, Alice said indifferently, I have no interest in professional racing drivers at all. She turned around and left indifferently. Lu Ziwen remained silent. Pete couldn't understand what Lu Ziwen meant. Third master, if you are not interested in her, why don't you say a word? If you open your mouth, she will definitely be willing. If who wants to keep racing black if he can become a professional driver? No rush, Lu Ziwen said with a chuckle, I have plenty of patience. He stood up and collected the information. I will send someone to contact you later, and you can also help me find more seed players. They are 12-16 years old. Anyone over 16 years old, unless the talent is amazing, I don't want. Okay, I understand. Lu Ziwen left, and when he came down, Alice was leaning in front of her sports car and asked unruly, Lu Ziwen, do you want to sign for me? After seeing your performance last night, I had an idea. I originally wanted to ask Pete for some seed players, but after meeting you, I gave up the idea. Lu Ziwen said lightly, you are not suitable for my new team. Why? Alice's voice was slightly unconvinced. Because of your personality, Lu Ziwen said, I will build this team myself. You have such an unruly character and don't obey discipline. I like drivers who are obedient. Alice was obviously very angry, but Lu Ziwen ignored her emotions, got in the car and left. He put one hand on the steering wheel and looked in the rearview mirror to see Alice's figure fading away. Her temperament and appearance are completely different from those of Pei Chuying. Is he overly concerned? But the bait has been thrown away, and it depends on her whether she can catch the bait or not. Gu Si attended the summit for another half day, and then visited Kang'an Pharmaceuticals laboratory in the afternoon. Chen Rishi invested a lot of money. The researchers were top-notch, and the equipment was also top-notch. Gu Si looked at the drug ingredients and tests, and found that there were no major problems. The doctors were all ready to make a move. The dean even wanted to discuss cooperation with Chen Rishi, but Gu Si refused. The dean asked, why? No reason, Gu Si said lightly, I don't believe Chen Rishi. Although the director of Nanjing Hospital has a higher rank than her, her status, in addition to being a doctor, is also the leader of the Jida. Nanjing Hospital is affiliated to the Jida. If Gu Si doesn't agree, the director can't do anything. She has more power than the director. To be honest, among this group of people, only the dean knew about this powerful relationship, so Gu Si did not refute him face to face. I see. The dean knew that Gu Si was ordering him as the head of the sect at this moment, so he quickly put away his little thoughts without even fighting for it. Gu Si had Zhang Junlin's style of doing things. She must have thought carefully when rejecting a suggestion. Will change easily. Chen Rishi led people to visit the hospital for an afternoon and gave explanations. He received several cooperation intention contracts, and some doctors immediately wanted to sign and cooperate. However, there was no response from Nanjing Hospital, which he was most looking forward to. The director said that he needed to think about it. Doctors from Nanjing Hospital are not the only ones in the country, but the dean has to think carefully and others don't dare to make random decisions. It's best to be on the same page. Kang'an has no qualifications in the country. Chen Rishi was very sorry and asked Gu Si. After visiting, Xiao Si was not moved at all. Heart beating, Gu Si said bluntly, if it were a different boss, I might agree. Chen Rishi, Xiao Si, when doing business and getting angry, you don't need to target me everywhere. Once bitten by a snake, I am afraid of well ropes for 10 years. I am more cautious in doing things, Gu Si said. Speaking of which, the cardiology department of the Central Hospital is also very famous. Why didn't we invite doctors from the Central Hospital this time? Is it because the Central Hospital belongs to the Lu family, and you know that Lu Ziwen will not agree? This is the organizer's business, and it has nothing to do with me, Chen Rishi said. Since Xiaosai is not interested, then I will work harder. Negotiating cooperation cannot be achieved at one time. I am confident that you will agree. I appreciate your confidence, Gu Si said nothing more. Chen Rishi was a little frustrated and continued to show the team around. Gu Si was amazed at Kangan's research conditions. If the country was willing to spend money, scientific research would not be so far behind. And came forward and said, Master, the third master is asking you, are you about to get off work? He will pick you up. There will be another 8,000 supplements tomorrow. End of this chapter.